Hello guys and welcome back to another round gamer video. This is going to be an event overview as well as a detailed skills breakdown of the upcoming 2 weeks, which will include a breakdown of Eros and Siv, the two titans featured in the event this week, and some speculations for Achilles, which I am sure that's what we're going to get, but we shall see. And also I'll discuss a few update news on 1.39 as per the dev's blog. So let's kick it off by looking at Eros Breakdown as we always do. He's a physical ranger. You get physical damage and AP, which are his key damage skills. For his prestige skill, you will get a buff for the human troop health, which is actually slightly uninteresting given the fact that he buffs archers who are primarily used for the damage and not as meat shield. So that's kind of a letdown, but maybe that helps them sustain themselves in the battlefield. But his other skill, which is reasonably okay, is the fact that whenever an Omega Goliath is summoned, now I'm not really sure whether this applies to enemy Goliath summons as well, but if they are summoned, there is a very high chance of you getting Omega Archers, and there isn't a cap, I believe, to this. So let's say you're going up against a Hachiman and you're using an Eros, and if the Hachiman manages to get his Goliaths because some of your troops die or something like that, then you will get Omega Archers. Could be a useful skill, but it's very specific to there. So I'm not personally a big fan of his prestige skill, but what he does very well is the fact that he has 4 Omega Goliaths by default, and which puts him very much on par or close to par with other Omega Goliath summoning titans, including Kronos. Hachiman you can't really consider because it doesn't come by default, but is very comparable to Lethator, who brings in 5. So he's close with 4. You get the same X health and X armor as you get for them as well for the Goliaths. But where his real strength is, because he's a human physical, as a physical ranger, uh, his primary goal really, if you're using him, should be, to be honest, buffing archers, where your Goliaths primarily function to only act as a meat shield. So your archers get a whopping 225% damage, which is more than an X damage, because normally the X damage is 180, so you get 225, which is good, and you get 88% AP and 44% critical. So you probably get everything you really want from archers. So you don't have to, put specific relics to buff your archers critical. But you're probably best focusing it on your armor piercing. So that's really good. Now the real reason why Eros is preferred, especially if you if you don't have him already, is the fact that he has auto rage special skill, and this is very unique, which isn't present in any Titan by default. So this comes by default, so you don't have to prestige your Eros at all, what you might have to do with Krotos. So for example, here what you get is every time the battle begins, right at the battle start, and every 20 seconds, you will get rage on 6 allied troops. So if your troops are all spread out, there'll be 6 of them that'll get it. But if you have it all bunched together, they will all be raged basically. And there isn't any limit to this, so as long as your battle is going on, you will continue to get rage spells. So Eros is best probably considered a Titan that's used with a few Goliaths as defenders, maybe just one or maybe maximum of 2 or 3 to be honest, because you do get 4 Miracles by default, and taking your archers as the real attack power, the attack powerhouse, because being a physical ranger, you are likely or rather better off focusing on using relics that buff the archers rather than Goliaths. So there's that. Good Titan overall. I do like him. I have him at 59. It'll be fun. It's definitely fun to play with him, and he does very well in specialist events, including Raid Boss as well as Conquest. So now here's the other Titan that's available in this event, Siv, and this is actually one of the very underappreciated Titans, I believe, in the game, because of the fact that many other Titans that came around when she was released have taken the spotlight. She is, in fact, and if you've seen my recent video where I compare all the lightning Titans. Siv actually comes out pretty much on the on the top three Lightning Titans in the game. Now, not only does she give a monumental buff to your Storm Maiden, she's 225, which if you compare with other Lightning Titans, is actually higher by around 40%. But she also comes with some really strong Imperials. In fact, when I say strong, I mean meaty Imperials. And the reason I say this is if you compare what the health that you get on Imperials, it's 174% health, which is even more than you get with Krotos. It's even more than what you get with Progenitor. So that's something to keep in mind, that you actually get pretty meaty Imperials. And with the recent update of the Imperials getting some additional, I think 25% base health buff across all levels, this might actually make these Imperials sort of viable on as meat shields. Also with the 40% melee resist, they do offer there is hope of this being a reasonably good melee uh, resist shield as a troop against other attackers. Of course, I don't see many people using Civ, and I haven't seen any video myself of Civ being used to take down Hachimans. Um, and so Imperials do still struggle with that, but her prestige skill is actually probably one of the best you can get for Storm Maidens, putting her on par even with with Zeus, what you get with some of the other lightning berserkers like Arwen and Solga. You get a base Storm Agent buff at 90% at level 10, probably starting at 60%, and every time enemy dies, and there's maximum 5. Quite underwhelming second prestige skill there, which is you get 5% troop armor, so you're looking at 25% additional troop armor and AP. One thing to keep in mind, that Imperials here do get do not get an X armor, but rather than a tier 3 armor skill, which is 44 rather than 88%, so less armor. But if you consider using Civ on attack, whether that armor is super effective, super important, that 40% less is super effective or not, could be argued, because you remember Imperials come with 80% by default. Now special skills are, she comes with with 3 lightning storms, with those lightning storms having 40% buff to the damage along with the other lightning spell as well. So overall pretty decent Titan to go for if you're considering Storm Maidens, although she is nowhere close to a Frigg, because Frigg has 5 Omega Storm Maidens that which have amazing amount of damage in them. But as far as a non-summoning Storm Maiden Titan goes, I think Civ is definitely worth considering. Now, before we get into the actual schedule of this event, I thought of covering a few things that are coming up next week. So obviously Eros starts tomorrow. It's going to start at 3 p.m. UK time and ends on 7th, and I think that is that's the normal uh, Monday sort of ending period of that. But what is interesting is the fact that on 7th of September you're going to see 2 events. Portal Surge, this is normally going to be a discount on buying portal stones, that is i.e. using gems, and that'll go on for 3 days, so that's going to go on till Thursday before the next event begins. And this is really good, so you can raid more, get your stuff like that during the event. But what also starts on 7th September is this so-called Temple Festival War Gods, and I believe it's where you are gonna make a roll of dice, and I think it's 60,000 gems or something like that, crazy amount of gems. But here's a chance, if you're really crazy, one of those top war guys, and gems is not a problem for you, you can pick up one of these 7 war titans, and I believe each of them is absolutely fantastic. I mean, we haven't seen any of those bad, isn't it? And Ares is awesome. Hachiman is the one that you will all probably want if you take a roll. Now they do say they all come with a equal chance of pulling them, so it's kind of a roll of a dice. You might get a Hachiman, you might get a Sekhmet, but honestly, if you think you need one of those, and and you have 60,000 gems lying around or something like that, well, then go for it. But there's that. But also, what begins on 8 September, a day after that, is going to be a Relics event where you get to pull one of these relics from the altar. And I believe they're also with the equal probability as well to drop. Now, I've marked out a few which I think are pretty good. Storm Prophecy is a good one. Useful on Frigg, but also very good on Hachimans if you're considering having one for your second Hachiman, because many people here do have a second Hachiman, so you might want to get that. Winged Messenger, good relic as well, gives you ranged and melee resist for Goliaths with some archer damage. Sekhmet Egg is good relic for giving elemental resistance 24 for your skeletons, and Warrior Belt and Ares Turret, of course, are Ares relic, and no harm getting a second version of it if you are looking for those. But I think these all come at a price of 10,000 gems. And personally, I wouldn't be spending on that. I wouldn't recommend anyone doing it also, because unless you are one of those warbent people who have to have these to complete a build, because all of these will at some point, given enough time, will feature in regular events. So yep, so 7th to 10th is kind of a pass period. Tuesday to Thursday should be a relaxed period for everyone else who is not looking to spend on the altar. Now let's talk about the event schedule for the event on Thursday. It's a 21,000 souls event, and the boosts are going to be Eros, Minotaur, and Krotos. Now the relic is Scarlet Candle. One thing to keep to note on this, if these are physical souls and if they have included 1.4 as Minotaur is an infiltrator, the Minotaur's ring can potentially give another 20%, which could put that to 1.7 as a relic boost. Now, that's being really optimistic. Knowing how devs are, we probably wouldn't see that. What it will likely mean is that you will not get that Minotaur's ring will not work on this event. But even if they manage to cap that on Minotaur, if they do make the ring work on other 4-star physical titans, it could mean that Sarkon, for example, which is the other physical infiltrator, could possibly get that benefit. Just to keep in mind, because 1.2 can then potentially become 1.4. So yeah, there's that. Now individual rewards, Siv features at 12,000 souls, and Eros himself is at 16,000 souls. And the real key relic here, I think, which everyone probably would want, is the Stone Skull, which I don't believe is a relic that actually came out when Eros came out. I may be wrong, but I believe it's when we had Lethator for the first time, and it's a fantastic relic, as we shall see. There's a lot more divine gems I can notice. 300 divine gems, 20,000, and 13,000, 150 as well. So that's 450 there and 100. So you're already seeing 550 divine gems, and there's probably a few more at the start of the reward chain. So definitely a fair few divine gems to pull up. Alliance rewards, we do get a higher than normal max level 1 rank 1 rewards, so beta souls and ERU or attack cool. These guys, if they might be looking at a level 50 Eros rather than level 40 Eros, which is great. Other than that, their top 50 will get Eros, with 51 to 100 getting a Civ. So if you are one who wants to get a Civ, you probably don't have to get into an alliance that is targeting 12,000 souls. You can probably look for an alliance where you can just land up getting maybe a Storm Ring or something lower than that. In fact, I would estimate even lower soul counts to pull yourself a Civ. So Civ is almost a given if you are in a fairly active alliance. Otherwise, you get gems in this event. Good relics overall. Honestly, the one that I don't have is Hoplite Vambraces. Sadly, it is featured at very high up at 17,000 souls. But but there are very good relics, all of them, including the Storm Ring. Storm Ring, if you don't have this, is a very good relic for any Storm Maiden builds. I use it a lot on my Lubu, pretty much on any Titan really, because you not only get 3 Lightning Storm spells, you get Storm Maiden Critical, which is hard to come by, and a respectable 40% damage buff for your Storm Maidens. Love's Arrow gives 65% rage damage buff, which is very rare. Now, couple that with Staff of Iron, you could be looking at a massive 130% damage buff for your rage spells. So overall, really like this relic. Eros Quiver is also another fantastic relic. Although it buffs only Omega Goliath's health, the Goliath Earth damage 60% is higher than normal, which could be making it useful for any offensive build you want to have using Goliaths. Stone Skull, absolutely love the relic. You get 40% Goliath Void and Lightning resist, and you get some melee resistance, which is a brilliant relic. And you also get the most damage you can get from a single relic for your Mega Goliaths at 100%. So this is a fabulous relic, and I definitely think it's worth it at being at 21,000 souls. Hoplite Vine Braces gives you 40% but for ice and physical, so these two relics put together you can be looking at 40% resistance to 4 elements, which is fantastic. So yeah, overall good relic, also one of the rare relics that actually gives you Goliath health. So good relics overall if you are planning to get them. Now before we proceed any further, let's look at the some of the information here. Conquest, there's been an update. We all know that there was a bug where people were taking in prestiged Anubis and probably for the Titans, getting a lot more, getting crazy amount of scores in the Conquest battles. Now they do confirm that they will not be banning anyone for this sort of behavior, as you can see from the anti-cheating update there. Which is I really don't know what to say, because I didn't do that, and obviously I have been disadvantaged by that. Players like me have been disadvantaged like that who haven't used that sort of glitch, the Conquest score bug glitch. So but anyway, the rewards in the Conquest for me weren't that exciting, so not too upset, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people will be, especially if you were spending on the event. Now they also acknowledge the fact that once star drops were back in this event, so they will be fixing that in the future Conquest event. So that's all good. Now also note that they specifically mentioned they're not going to be banning people for this Conquest score bug or for the resource food glitch, which is when you see people having millions and millions like I have as well for food and gold. But they will, of course, they have the right to permanently ban you if they find you trying to induce these glitches on purpose. That is, if for example you set your phone on airplane mode, so you will get flagged. So do keep that in mind. I would not recommend anyone trying to take part in cheating or anything like that. Play fair or don't play at all, as I say. Now here, okay, so let's talk about something more exciting there. The 1.39 update is almost here. They're going to give us more information in the next week's blog, which is great. What they have kind of mainly working on is improving the new player experience. They're going to also get a new monthly calendar login reward, which is great because we've been tired of getting durats and all these pretty outdated calendars rewards for high level players. But so although they're doing it for the new players, I think it is going to definitely be something welcomed by the older players as well. They're featuring and this is a very good move on their part, in my opinion. Is they're giving away the so-called all elemental titan token. And I think what that'll let you do is pull in a specific titan of your choice from the altar every month once, so which is great. You get one Force Titan guaranteed every month, which is going to be welcomed by all. Here's the the layout of the calendar. The key rewards really are at the last couple of days. The relic shards, 3-star and 4 shards, are welcome. They're good for sort of minor leveling of relics. But the all Titan token elements is on day 26, so don't miss out on that day. And you get yeah. Other than that, the other relics are all right, but obviously you get a lot of fusion and forging food, which is all welcome. I think this is a very positive change. Shout out to devs for doing this. We're also going to get new Pantheon collections finally. Been looking for this for a while, so For collectors like myself and for the players, this is good news. Hopefully the relics that they have for these Pantheon collections are worthy and not sort of let down. So Greeks 2, Egyptian 2, War Gods 1, Community Titans, and Community Titans will probably see Baba Yaga in there for sure. So it'll be interesting to see, and Winter Titans, which probably should have Krampus, probably should have Jotun as well in those. So yeah, a lot of interesting stuff. Shout out to Chef Pescott and Shorio, who have now been added to the devs blog, and yeah, great streams. Do check them out. And of course, a lot other YouTubers there which I have mentioned, but these were the ones added up. Finally, we're gonna come at to this speculation, which is Hero of Myrmidons, and did some Google searching, and it's very likely this is gonna be Achilles. Now, Achilles is normally featured having a sword and a shield in his hand, sort of a blocker, and he's not known particularly to have any superpowers, something like that. But he is very strong, and he's very resilient, and and can resist a lot of other damage. Given this sort of thing there, and the fact that he's a warrior and etc., I'm not really sure what class he would be, but I have a strong feeling, given if they design him the way it is here, which is using having a sword in one hand, and if you skip the shield, he might be a paladin, because paladins are known to be very meaty. So we could probably see a paladin being back in the game, because we've already seen a guardian. We've seen Ares just feature as a guardian one, so I wouldn't think we'd see a guardian again as a Greek god. So I'm expecting this to be a paladin, and probably a really strong one that is probably resistant to a lot of elements. Of course, the lore is of an Achilles heel, which is him being vulnerable to something. So I am almost fully expecting this to be a paladin that buffs either Imperials or Spearmen with a lot of resist skills, or he could just be one that buffs himself with resistance to possibly all elements quite easily, with max melee, max range. He's going to be really, really hard to take down with a skill, maybe a prestige skill similar to Frigg, where he buffs his own health. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I would expect this Achilles to actually buff Imperials, given the recent release of Imperials, or an attempt to make Imperials great again. So maybe we see this. Maybe we even see Omega Imperials in the game. Either way, very excited to see. This event will start on the 10th. This is next Thursday. So this is the next Alliance Award. So hopefully this will be an exciting event. As far as this event goes, I'm not personally too excited because I do have all these reward relics already, except the Hoplite Vambraces, but it's 70,000 souls. So for this event is a pass. But for those who don't have this, Eros is definitely a great Titan. If you can manage to get him, I would suggest getting into an Alliance event, a top 50 Alliance event. You probably won't expect high soul counts, and if you can get yourself into a top 50 Alliance event, you might just grind out maybe to Siv. You get yourself a Siv at 12,000, and you get Eros from the Alliance awards, and you can call it that. But these relics are great. They are actually worth it. So if you do have the time, and if you can grind it out, 21,000 souls it's not as high as you've seen in the earlier weeks. It's not, you're not talking about 30,000 souls. And if Minotaur's ring manages to work, things could be much easier. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Hope you found this analysis interesting, yeah, and I'll catch you all in another video.